What is the price of a miracle? When the sea itself rises to swallow your home, and a creature of the deep offers salvation, do you dare to ask? This is not just a tale of a girl and her aquatic friend. This is a story about the cost of a debt paid to something far older than man, and how the most beautiful mercy can have the sharpest teeth. In the bustling fishing village of Udumo Bay, Naledi was the quiet one. While other children played with nets and boats, she walked the lonely stretches of shore, listening to the sea's secrets. Her older brother, Bangani, a bold fisherman, would tease her. "You speak more to the waves than to your own family." But the waves, and what lived within them, did speak to her. Especially one. A rare, pink-gray river dolphin she named Khanyiso, the light. Their friendship was a silent language of clicks, whistles, and understood gestures. He would guide lost fish to her brother's nets, nudge beached starfish back to the water. The village saw it as a lucky charm. Her grandmother, Gogo Thandi, the keeper of the old stories, saw it differently. The Ingwenya Manzi, the water lizard, takes many forms, child, Gogo would warn, her eyes clouded with cataracts and memory. It can be a log, a beautiful woman, or a friendly dolphin. It offers help, but it always remembers the debt. And its memory is as long as the ocean is deep. Naledi, full of youthful certainty, would just smile. Khanyiso was her friend. Nothing more. The first sign was the dream. Naledi dreamt she was floating in the bay at midnight. Khanyiso was there, but his eyes were not the warm, intelligent pools she knew. They were ancient, black, and reflective like obsidian. A series of clicks and images flooded her mind. The reef cracking, the water pulling back like a drawn breath, then rushing forward in a mountain of frothing destruction. She woke gasping, her small room damp with salt spray that shouldn't have been there. The next day, she ran to the shore. Khanyiso was there, circling frantically. He did a strange, agitated dance, leaping and slapping the water, then swimming toward the deep channel and back, as if pointing. The image from her dream flashed in her mind. A tsunami. Terrified, she told Bangani. He laughed, but it was uneasy. She told the village elders. They patted her head. A child's nightmare, they said. The weather is calm. Only Gogo Thandi listened. She went to the shore, her blind eyes turned toward Khanyiso's clicks. Her face tightened with a grim understanding. The Lightbringer has given you a true vision. The great wave comes. But he has shown you. Now, he will act. And we will owe. Driven by Gogo's unwavering trust in the old ways, the elders, reluctantly, agreed to a plan. Khanyiso, from the water, would guide them. Naledi, on the cliff, would interpret. He clicked, a direction to the highest cave in the sea cliffs. He whistled, a warning to move the fishing boats to the sheltered southern cove. It was an eerie, miraculous coordination. The dolphin knew the coming wave's path intimately, as if he had watched the sea's anger build for centuries. The village moved. When the ocean did the unthinkable, pulling back hundreds of meters with a terrifying hiss, Udumo Bay was ready. They watched from the high cliffs as the wall of water arrived, devouring the empty beach, smashing the abandoned lower huts, but leaving the heart of the village and all its people untouched. As the water receded, leaving mud and wreckage, a profound silence fell. Then, a cheer erupted. They had been saved. Naledi was a heroine. They carried her on their shoulders. They chanted her name. And in the bay, Khanyiso leapt, a graceful arc against the bruised sky. The debt, it seemed, was paid in gratitude. But that night, Naledi found Gogo Thandi on the shore, leaving an offering of precious white beads and dried herbs at the water's edge. The debt is not paid, little one, Gogo whispered. It is just entered into the ledger. The Ingwenya Manzi did not divert the wave. It negotiated with it. And now, it will collect its broker's fee. The collection began subtly. The village's luck, which had been so good, turned. Nets came up empty or torn. Springs near the village turned brackish. And Naledi began to change. She found she could no longer tolerate fresh water. Bathing made her skin itch and burn. She craved raw fish. Her skin, once warm brown, took on a cool, grayish pallor. And she heard Khanyiso's clicks not just at the shore, but in her dreams, in the wind, in the drip of a tap, a constant, beckoning melody. One night, sleepwalking, she walked into the sea. Bangani found her submerged in the shallows, sitting calmly, breathing water as easily as air. When he pulled her out, she coughed up salt water and wept, not out of fear, but out of longing. "He's lonely," she cried. "He saved us all, and he's so lonely down there in the deep, dark places." Bangani, now terrified for his sister, went to the elders. "The dolphin spirit wants a companion," Gogo Thandi declared, her voice final. "It has chosen the one who can hear it. It will slowly turn her into one of its own. It will take her to the deep, and give us back something else in her shape." The village was torn. Some were grateful and thought it a fair trade. One life for hundreds. Others were horrified. Bangani was furious. "She is not a piece of barter. We will not pay." But the sea itself seemed to side with the spirit. The fish did not return. A strange sickness affected the children, making them listless and cold. The message was clear: the village's survival was alone. And the payment was due. The final confrontation happened under a gibbous moon. Khanyiso waited in the bay, his presence a calm, dark pressure. The village stood on the shore, arguing. Bangani held his sister, who was shivering, her eyes fixed on the water. "There must be another way." Bangani shouted to the elders. "We offer cattle. Gold. Anything else." A elder, who had lost his home in the wave, spoke coldly. "The spirit does not want cattle. It wants what it was promised. Would you have us all perish for one girl?" It was Gogo Thandi who stepped forward, her blind eyes seeming to see everything. "The old ledger has a clause," she said, her voice cutting through the wind. "A debt to a spirit can be transferred, if another willingly takes on the weight. It must be a blood relative. And the sacrifice must be total." She turned her unseeing gaze to Bangani. "You offered anything else. The spirit hears. Will you dive into the deep to be your sister's light in the dark? Will you become the companion, and let her walk in the sun?" The crowd fell silent. Bangani looked at his sister, who was slowly becoming a creature of the lagoon. He looked at the village, saved yet crumbling. He remembered his teasing, her lonely walks, her pure heart that had somehow summoned this nightmare. With a cry of anguish and love, he made his choice. He kissed Naledi's damp forehead. "Stay in the light, little sister," he whispered. Before anyone could stop him, he stripped off his shirt and ran into the waves, not as a fisherman, but as an offering. He swam out to where Khanyiso waited. The dolphin circled him once, then dove. A moment later, a hand, Bangani's hand, broke the surface in a wave, then disappeared into the depths. On the shore, Naledi gasped as if surfacing from a deep dive. The gray tint left her skin. The craving for salt vanished. She was just a girl again. Khanyiso gave one final, sonar click that sounded like a sigh of satisfaction, and vanished into the deep channel. The village was saved. Again. The fish returned. The springs ran sweet. But a silence hung over Udumo Bay, heavier than any tsunami wave. They had paid their debt, not with the chosen one, but with a volunteer. A piece of their collective soul was now owned by the deep. Naledi never went into the sea again. She married a man from the inland hills. But every full moon, she walks to the cliff and throws a single, perfect white shell into the bay. Some say, if you listen closely on those nights, you can hear two sets of clicks and whistles echoing in the deep, one old and wise, one learning the lonely songs of the abyss. Naledi's friendship saved a village from a natural disaster. But it invited a supernatural debt. The village learned that miracles from the old world are never gifts. They are transactions. And the currency is always something more precious than gold. They were spared the waves' wrath, only to be crushed by the weight of their own survival. So, what do you think? Was Bangani's sacrifice the noble end of the bargain, or was the village wrong to accept any deal from the deep? Can we ever accept a rescue without scrutinizing the rescuer's motives? Let me know in the comments below. If this tale of a debt paid to the deep left you unsettled, then you must hear the story of the sound engineer who cleaned a haunted tape. The link is on the screen now. Subscribe and hit the bell for more morally complex tales from the Safari of Tales. Until next time, remember, not all heroes want a thank you. Some want a replacement.